Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Tuesday, January 12th, 2016 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is expansion mastery starts within. And today we have an interesting day. We have the sun at 21 degrees beginning the day and then shifting into 22 degrees. So 21 degrees is the degree of expansion. And then 22 degrees, 22 is a master number. So it always takes us back to ourselves, but it's also one of the revolution-evolution degrees. It's a degree of Uranus. So it's a degree of shift. And so what we're really working with today with the sun is getting into the energy of who we are, shifting into the expansion mastery of showing up who we are. And that starts within. It's never about without, it's not even, it doesn't even start with how you show up out there, even though that's a huge thing in it, is how you're showing up in the world. But how are you showing up for yourself? Are you letting yourself be you, at least to you? And then it's like to your closest friends and maybe to your family, and then you get to the world. It's kind of this like slow little expansion, but start here. Be true to you within and see how that shifts you. And the astro is really feeding into that. We have the moon finishing up in Aquarius today, and for most of the day, that's the only thing that's like happening. That's the only exact alignment that's happening. So it's kind of a quiet morning, but the moon in Aquarius is really feeding into that energy of being your authentic self. And then it's going to shift into Pisces, bringing your intuition into it, bringing spirit into it, and probably, stirring up some interesting dreams. But we do have a few other things that are happening. So Venus in Sagittarius, which we talked about, being open to people, open to the crazy makers, open to learning from the crazy makers in our life. We have Venus in Sagittarius connecting to Uranus in Aries. And so this is happening at 16 degrees, which is a 7, which brings the element of spirit. We are spiritual beings having this human experience. We're all stars and feeding into this human experience. So with this, what I really felt was this is about opening to the uniqueness of you, opening to whatever kind of energy you came. Have you mastered the freedom? Venus in Sagittarius loves the freedom. And so does Uranus and Aries. Between the two of them, they're like freedom lovers. But have you mastered the freedom and what that feels like of being you? Or are you still playing into someone else's version of you? Whether it's your parents from when you were little, your friends, your spouses. There's so many different elements that we feed into these things, and kind of like, we're all chameleons to some extent. And so where have you chameleoned yourself? And you're like, oh wait, I'm not a pink chameleon. I am a neon green chameleon. Where is it that you can shift and open up to yourself in that way? And David Bowie right now is all over the internet for having had his birthday, released an album, and passed all in, the span of a few days. Ambitious, Capricorn, spirit always. But the song, while I was doing this astro today, the song Changes kept popped into my head. Changes. Turn and face the strange. Honor what may be considered the strange in you and let it start coming through. That's really the expansion of your mastery, the expansion of you showing up. The other thing that we have that's interesting in this is we have Mercury, which is retrograde, in Capricorn, connecting to Pallas. And Pallas is all about breaking down those barriers, those rules that keep us, again, from our authentic self. Pallas really focus on the patriarchal side of things, but it works in many different ways. So it's so interesting. Pallas is here working with like the mind, and maybe even like the patriarchal shadow king energy that can happen in our mind when our mind's like, this is safe, we're going to stay here, this is safe, it's safe for you to show up this way, it's not safe for you to show up that way. And I love it because it's happening at 26 degrees, which is an 8, which tunes us into a responsibility. How are you going to respond? Are you going to respond in that way that has been safe, that your mind says is okay? Or are you going to respond in the way that's true to you? You get to decide, and all of this helps you tune into your mastery. So the cards I pulled: breakthrough, Uranus energy. It's big today. This is causing breakthroughs. And they may be just the tiniest things, but it's the little cracks that really start a movement, that start a revolution. Slowing down. The slowing down card is interesting because we have this breakthrough, but it's like you don't have to just dive right in all at once. Be slow, be easy. And with this card I get too is a lot of times we speed through our lives so fast that before we know it's the end of the day and we've gotten through and we don't even know who we've been, how we've shown up. And so I think this card is reminding you, notice how are you showing up. And finally, the traveling card, which I looked up in the book because I was like, traveling? I mean, it's possible. Venus is in Sagittarius, traveling. But if you're not going on a trip today, I really like what the card said because I feel like it really tuned into the Venus-Uranus connection. And it says, the traveling card reminds us to accept and embrace the new. Just as when we travel to another country with a different culture and an environment, different environment than the one we are accustomed to. This attitude of openness and acceptance invites new friends and experiences into our lives. So it's that element of being open. Life's a journey, not a destination. So open. You're not where you're going to yet. If you're still here, you still got experience to move through. So that's it for today. Book a reading. I'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.